JBN, we keep you informed. Coming up in the news today, woman stabbed to death in downtown Kingston, suspect charged. Put back the St. James SOE now, says G2K. High alert activated for missing 10-year-old boy. Jamaican fined US $2,000 for overstaying in the Bahamas. Men of interest captured by police in Hanover. And Phillips dismisses budget as out of touch with ordinary Jamaicans. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items. Woman stabbed to death in downtown Kingston, suspect charged. A man has been charged in connection with the stabbing death of a woman on Orange Street in downtown Kingston on Friday, March 15. He is 38-year-old Gray Roy, a laborer of Ball Ground, 11 miles in St. Thomas. Reports from the Denham Town Police are that about 9:15 a.m. Roy and the woman, 32-year-old Shauna Eddy of Norman Lane, Kingston 11, had an altercation when it is said that he used a knife to stab her. The police were summoned and she was taken to the hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The police says Roy's court date is being finalized. Investigations continue. Put back the St. James SOE now, says G2K. Generation 2000 G2K, the young professional arm of the governing Jamaica Labour Party, has called for the immediate reinstatement of the state of public emergency SOE in St. James. The St. James SOE, along with two others that were imposed in the St. Catherine North Police Division and across 3 police divisions in the corporate area, came to an end earlier this year after the opposition voted in Parliament not to support any further extensions. St. James saw murders slashed from 341 in 2017 to 102 last year during the year-long SOE. The call by G2K comes in the wake of a spike of murders across the parish, an appeal by local industry leaders for urgent action by the government, and the findings of a RGR Gleaner Commission poll that an overwhelming majority of Jamaicans support the SOE. President of G2K, Stephen Edwards, urged the parliamentary opposition to take their heads out of the sand and listen to the cries of the people who he said are once again living in fear for their lives. The fact that gunmen can be brazen enough to use high-powered weapons to spray a security company vehicle with bullets in broad daylight speaks volumes about how empowered the crimes feel now that there is no SOE, Edwards said in a statement on Friday. The comments were in reference to last week's brazen daylight attack on the driver of a businessman and 2 security guards who were escorting him in the resort town of Montego Bay. The driver and one of the security guards was killed, and the cash estimated to be between $10 million and $20 million stolen. Edwards contends that because of the opposition vote, the St. James SOE ended prematurely and amid overwhelming support from residents and clear evidence that the measure was making a meaningful impact on crime. One therefore wonders in whose interest the opposition was really acting when they blocked the extension of the SOE, given that their decision runs completely opposite to the will of the Jamaican people, he questioned. High alert activated for missing 10-year-old boy. A high alert has been activated for 10-year-old Kamar Evans of Majestic Gardens, Kingston 11, who has been reported missing since Friday. He is of dark complexion and slim build and is about 104 centimeters or 3 feet 5 inches tall. Reports from the Hunts Bay Police are that Kamar was last seen at home about 8:30 p.m. At the time, he was dressed in a white merino, blue shorts, and a pair of red and black slippers. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Kamar Edwards is being asked to contact the Hunts Bay Police at 876-923-7111. That's 876-923-7111. Police 119 emergency number or the nearest police station. Jamaican fined US $2,000 for overstaying in the Bahamas. A Jamaican and 5 Asians were on Friday sentenced in the Bahamas for immigration offenses. The Bahamas Immigration Department said the Jamaican, Garcia Marie Martin, was convicted of overstaying and fined $2,000 or in default of payment served 2 months at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. Meanwhile, the Haitians were convicted of illegally entering the country and is sentenced to 1 month at Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. We are committed to carrying out the mandates of our agency to combat illegal immigration by establishing effective border control management to ensure compliance with the statute laws of our country, the department said in the statement. Bahamian officials have long complained about Haitians seeking to enter the country legally in a bid to escape the level of poverty in a French-speaking Caribbean community country, or as a stepping stone to the United States. The Haitians normally undertake the dangerous sea voyage in unworthy vessels and in some instances have paid the price for the adventure with their lives. Men of interest captured by police in Hanover. The St. James Police arrested 2 men who were identified as persons of interest in a double murder investigation in Chester Castle, Hanover on Friday, March 15. The men were nabbed at about 3:30 p.m. at a nightclub in the community. They have been identified as 26-year-old Demar Brown, otherwise called Bummy Squeeze, and Dwayne Barnes, otherwise called Tickerus. Arrangements are being made for them to be interviewed in the presence of their attorney. These men were wanted in relation to the murder of the security guard and the driver on Jarrett Street in Montego Bay on Sunday. The alleged reputed gang leader Ken Wellington, otherwise called Scatter, was killed in a confrontation with the police on Tuesday, March 12 in Belmont and Chauvet, St. James. Wellington was also implicated in the murders of Kenny Richards in 2013 in Belmont and the January 2018 murder of Kevin Linder on McCarthy Street, Montego Bay, and the 2019 murders of Omar Watkins and Lloyd Johnson on Barnett Street. Phillips dismisses budget as out of touch with ordinary Jamaicans. The budget presented by Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, during which he announced $14 billion in tax cuts, has been dismissed as being out of touch with the ordinary Jamaican and rather skewed in favor of a privileged few. The assertion was made by the opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips when he made his contribution to the 2019-2020 budget debate in the House of Representatives. Clark, in announcing the tax cuts, $12 billion, of which will come from the significant reductions in the ad valorem stamp duty, said the country was in the best shape it has been in 50 years, with the macroeconomic numbers pointing in the right direction. However, Dr. Phillips, who himself served as finance minister in the previous People's National Party administration, poured cold water on that assertion. He likened Clark's maiden budget presentation to Charles Dickens' novel. The budget presented by the Minister of Finance brought to mind the first lines of the famous novel by Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities, in which he said, "It was the best of times and it was the worst of times," said Phillips. The official narrative given by the minister would say in effect that this is the best of times, but at best the story is an incomplete story, and at worst that story, the official narrative, is a distortion of the reality experienced by far too many of our people, Phillips added. He charged that the tax cuts were a mere discount for friends and family and were not of benefit to the vast majority of Jamaicans. Not only is your narrative out of touch with the people's reality, it is also woefully out of touch with your own growth projections, no matter how you want to nice it up, Phillips stated while addressing Clark. According to Dr. Phillips, it is a travesty of justice that those who have borne the brunt of the economic reform program got the least from the tax giveback. He said, "We must now examine whether the budget presented will use these increased revenues to improve the quality of life for the majority of Jamaicans." But he seemed ready to provide an answer, declaring that a careful reading of the budget shows a lack of understanding of the workings of the economy, and even more painful, a lack of appreciation for the day-to-day realities faced by ordinary Jamaicans. The opposition leader stated that while the unemployment rate is at record low numbers, over 700,000 of the unemployed are at or below the minimum wage. He said there was another 474,000 Jamaicans between 15 and 55 years old who are not actively looking for work. Phillips said that too many Jamaicans in the security, tourism, and other industries are employed as contract workers, which denies them of certain benefits. He said a future PNP government would reverse that trend. Phillips said that despite Clark's boast, many Jamaicans were struggling because of the special consumption tax, SCT on gasoline, that has served to push up the price of the fuel. He appealed to Prime Minister Andrew Holness to lower both the SCT and the general consumption tax when he makes his budget presentation on Tuesday. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.